This is one of those worst nightmare case scenarios that one can have as a man. You have a consensual horizontal mambo with a lovely lady, which in this case happens to be married, and when she's got regrets about that, she claims that it was not consensual, if you know what I mean. And that happened to Pete Hegseth, who is the pick from Donald Trump to be defense secretary. And this is uglier than you can imagine. I don't know if you have the details of this case, but we have two sides to this. And let's listen to the side of the mainstream media first. A newly released police report detailed a 2017 alleged sexual assault by Pete Hegseth, President-elect Donald Trump's defense secretary pick. The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely clear, and that's where I'm going to leave it, Hegseth said. But you know that the mainstream media, they're trying to attract those clicks. They trying to make this work for them, which many of them have these layoffs and they are being sold. But what did they say about Hegseth? This.
We turn now to this newly revealed police report that offers graphic details into a sexual assault claim against Donald Trump's pick to run the Department of Defense.
This happened in 2017, by the way, 2017. It's just so convenient that when he's named Secretary of Defense, then it just pops up.
Pete Hegseth's lawyer maintains it was a consensual encounter.
Sir, I'll keep this very simple. The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared, and that's where I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, it was investigated. We're going to see the details of the investigation thanks to Megyn Kelly, and it was clear. And all these allegations were baseless, and no charges were rising or anything.
According to the report, a woman referred to as Jane Doe met Hegseth during a conference at the Hyatt Regency Hotel.
You know that those conferences get really cozy, but in this case, she was with her husband and children. I told you. Yeah, I just couldn't believe the details of this. But
both were drinking with a group at the hotel bar.
Okay, this is important. The mainstream media says that both Hegseth and the woman, Jane Doe, were drinking.
When Doe said things got fuzzy, a nurse who treated her later said Doe believed something may have been slipped into her drink.
All of this was not proven because whatever she said, she claimed that happened that night. She said that 5 days later, after the fact, 5 days later is that she finally told her husband, I think I might have been, abused, taken advantage of. Someone slipped something into my drink and, that happened 5 days after the fact.
She then recalled being in a hotel room when Hegseth took her phone from her hand. When she got up to leave, Hegseth blocked the door with his body. Her next memory was when she was on a bed or a couch and Hegseth was over her.
Of course, we have no way to prove what happened behind closed doors. And this is something that, of course, you need to go to the other details of this report. And the mainstream media makes sure to just tell you the details that they want you to know.
His dog tags were hovering over her face. Hegseth's attorney told CBS News police found the allegations to be false and claimed it was Hegseth who was intoxicated and the woman who was the aggressor.
Yeah, at some scenarios, a man can be intoxicated and a woman can take advantage of a man. That happens.
He also confirmed the Fox News host paid the woman an unknown sum of money after she threatened to sue.
This is the kind of things that sometimes happen. You don't want to go to court. You don't want this to go to trial. So you just pay, in this case, Jane Doe, a sum of money to not go to trial. This is the part that everybody in the left-leaning media and the Democrats are trying to say, that he is guilty because he paid her some money. No, sometimes you don't want that to be just vented everywhere, all the details to go everywhere, and just chill out, because the real details of the report,
fearing it could cost him his job. The district attorney in Monterey said tonight that her office declined to file charges against Hegseth because it determined that they could not be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, that nothing could be proven. And then we have Megyn Kelly. I'm going to play some clips of Megyn Kelly, and she has the real insights. She's reading the insights of the actual report of what happened.
Joe was seen by an eyewitness flirting with Pete Hegseth at Knuckles Bar, which is attached to the Hyatt Regency at which they were both staying and in which he gave the speech, including touching his leg or arm prior to the alleged sexual assault.
Well, we could say that a sexual assault can happen in spite of this. Okay, maybe a man can take advantage of a woman that she is rather flirty, and he can take advantage of her. But then this happens.
They were at Knuckles Bar around midnight. The alleged sexual assault happened between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. She was seen in the bar flirting with him, including touching him. 2 witnesses at the bar, women who we believe were at the conference with her. She was one of the workers for this conference. 2 witnesses at the bar say Jane Doe did not appear out of control, intoxicated, or drugged.
That is important. You have witnesses that do not see anything odd in Jane Doe's behavior. She doesn't look like stumbling. She doesn't look like she is, doing crazy things with glasses of alcohol or drinking alcohol whatsoever. She said herself to the police that she had only had 1 glass of champagne, and that was it.
Cops say videotapes that they reviewed show her at 1:15 a.m. and a second one at 1:30 a.m. with Pete. 1:15 a.m. she and Pete are walking out of the Knuckles Bar, presumably back to his hotel room.
Yeah, presumably, because we exactly don't know what happened after
They
that.
are seen at 1:15 leaving Knuckles and walking. They're arm in arm. They're arm in arm, and she is smiling. She does not appear drunk on the videotape. She appears in control of her faculties and is not stumbling. Read the police report.
Yeah, the most damning evidence is that all this is in the police report. They did quite the investigation on this. And you can imagine that anybody who hated Hegseth at any point would want this to be reviewed very, very closely, and they couldn't even press charges.
The front desk guy said she did not appear drunk, she was not stumbling, and did not appear intoxicated. He, however, did, Pete. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, 3 eyewitnesses who were there who say she wasn't drunk. Her whole story is that someone appears to have slipped her a Mickey, and she was too drugged to remember exactly what happened during.
It's just like someone slipped into her drink, a rape drug, so she could be just intoxicated and be taken advantage of.
During this allegedly traumatic rape. When was she drugged?
That is a question that is important. At which point during the night that happened? Because if she only, according to her own recollections, she only drank 1 glass of champagne, it had to be at that point. But afterwards, nobody saw her stumbling or intoxicated or anything, whether witnesses or the cameras.
We are now within 30 minutes of the alleged rape. She is seen by 3 eyewitnesses and on 2 videotapes reviewed by police looking absolutely fine. Within 30 minutes or so, she will be allegedly raped. When did she get intoxicated? When did someone slip her the drug?
Yeah, because that is what she alleged. And who did she tell this to? Well,
said she did not look drunk. She goes into his room, and she is texting with her husband, it appears, from the room.
So she was with Pete Hegseth on Hegseth's room, and she was texting to her husband, who was down the hall with their children. Yeah, I told you that it was crazy. What kind of women are this? What kind of women are we talking about?
Husband is down the hall with his children, their children, in their own hotel room, looking for his wife.
You can imagine that the husband would be worried that his wife hadn't returned by 2 a.m. What is she doing at 2 a.m. alone?
He texted her around 2 a.m. saying, I don't remember the last time you were out at 2 a.m. Like, where are you? And no response. And then After 2 a.m., he goes down to Knuckles Bar looking for his wife. No one's there. Then at 2 additional times, I think it was 2:56 a.m. and 3:40 a.m., he calls his wife's phone. No answer. She's still in there with Pete.
Horizontal mambo, or maybe reverse cowgirl. I don't know.
According to the police report, she comes back home to her hotel room with her husband and her 2 children sleeping. The kid's sleeping. I don't know if the husband was. He had just called her at 3:40. And according to the husband, she does not appear drunk.
How is it possible that she would be intoxicated for all this to happen if she comes back at 3:40 to her husband, and her husband, on the police report, he said that she did not appear intoxicated? This is so sad. This is so sad in many ways.
The husband says she's not stumbling, she's not slurring, and she's apologetic. And what does she tell the husband? That she, quote, must have fallen asleep.
She must have fallen asleep. Like I just slid on a banana peel, and I just landed over this guy, Pete Hegseth, who was intoxicated. And you tell me, we are trying to be reasonable. Like Megyn Kelly, she just loses that afterwards, because it is so outrageous that somebody would do this. But I have to say this. Of course, Pete Hegseth, you don't get like intoxicated, drunk like that. Why would you do it? There's never a good reason to do that kind of things. You need to be in control of your faculties, especially if there are crazy women around.
Like this, CNN's lead. A California woman told police that Trump cabinet pick Pete Hegseth physically blocked her from leaving a hotel room, took her phone, and then sexually assaulted her, even though she, quote, remembered saying no a lot.
Yeah, that's when Maggie just loses that. That is the way that the mainstream media is portraying this. I'm going to go with Matt Walsh's opinion. A married woman chose to go up to Hegseth's hotel room while her husband and children were asleep in the same hotel. A few days later, she decided that she was raped. Doesn't sound even remotely credible to me. Yeah, especially with that police report. What kind of woman goes up to another man's hotel room while her husband and kids are in the same hotel waiting for her? Pure evil. This woman sounds like a monster, truly. None of us can know exactly what happened, which is what makes false rape claims so despicable. But in my opinion, this has all the markings of yet another case where a woman made a horrible choice and then came up with the assault story later to avoid accountability. I find that scenario a whole hell of a lot more credible and plausible than the alternative. And I'm just going to finish with this quote by Drain Bamage. Moral of the story: never stick your dick in crazy. Yeah, that is, especially if you are intoxicated, you have to be very careful. These days. It's a good thing that there were so many witnesses. There were video of that the husband of the woman said that she didn't look intoxicated, and all these allegations, all these accusations happened 5 days after this happened. Those must have been really interesting 5 days for that husband. But again, I would love to know, what do you think about this in the comments? Remember to download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video. Much love and bliss.